Who is Trevor Engelson? An entertainment industry insider who's now perhaps better known as Meghan Markle's ex-husband. Let's get to know the man who popped the question long before a certain Prince Harry came into the picture.
Trevor Engelson, Meghan Markle's former husband and the man who spent 15 years avoiding the spotlight, has finally broken his silence in a way nobody expected. Once viewed as a forgotten chapter before Meghan's royal rise, Trevor is suddenly at the center of a storm after shocking claims about Archie reportedly left Prince Harry speechless. What began as whispers has exploded into one of the biggest royal controversies online. But why speak after all these years, and what has everyone questioning the narrative surrounding Harry and Meghan? So, what do you think? Did Trevor Engelson go too far by speaking out after all these years? Or do you think people are overreacting to his comments? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. The silence that haunted Harry. For more than 15 years, Trevor Engelson remained one of the few people connected to Meghan Markle who refused to publicly tell his side of the story. While the world became consumed by royal interviews, headlines, documentaries, and endless debates surrounding Meghan and Prince Harry, Trevor stayed completely silent. There were no explosive interviews, no bitter social media posts, no books attacking his former wife. He disappeared quietly from the conversation, while the royal drama continued growing around the world. That silence, however, is now attracting attention in a completely different way. Trevor's name has suddenly returned to headlines after claims surfaced that private comments he allegedly made about Prince Archie of Sussex left Prince Harry deeply unsettled. The reports spreading online suggest Harry was not shaken because Trevor sounded angry or jealous, but because of how calm and confident he reportedly appeared while speaking about Meghan and the life she later built inside the royal family. What makes this story so fascinating is the idea that Trevor knew Meghan long before the castles, royal titles, global fame, and carefully managed public image changed everything. Long before millions of people formed opinions about the Duchess of Sussex, Trevor had already spent years beside her during a very different chapter of her life. Back then, Meghan was still trying to build her career in Hollywood, far away from palace walls and royal expectations. Now, many royal watchers are left wondering the same uneasy question. Did Trevor notice certain habits, personality traits, or subtle warning signs in Meghan years before the rest of the world started discussing them openly? And if so, what exactly did he see that others only realized much later? According to people closely following the growing controversy, Trevor's alleged remarks reportedly carried a sense of quiet understanding rather than revenge. That is exactly why the story is gaining so much attention online. Angry accusations are easy to dismiss, but calm observations from someone who once knew Meghan personally create a very different kind of conversation. For Prince Harry, this possibility may be hard to overlook. After years of standing by Meghan and defending her from media criticism, public pressure, and constant scrutiny, new reports suggesting Trevor may have once quietly predicted certain outcomes are now adding more fuel to the ongoing debate. Across social media and royal circles, people are now questioning what this could really mean. Trevor Engelson's long silence has suddenly become far more powerful than anyone expected. And after staying out of the spotlight for nearly 15 years, the man once erased from Meghan's story is now being pulled back into the center of one of the internet's biggest royal discussions. Trevor is known for staying away from headlines, yet his comments about Meghan's child are now circulating widely online. But why are his remarks gaining so much attention? What exactly did he say about the young prince? Was he speaking emotionally? Or were his words carefully chosen and deliberate enough to raise concern in a protective father? Let's find out. The comments that hit Harry. The real tension reportedly began when conversation shifted toward Archie and the younger children. Sources connected to the ongoing royal discussion claim Trevor allegedly reflected on how children can become caught between public image, media attention, and personal ambition when a life in the spotlight becomes too large to control. That reported sentiment, according to those claims, struck a sensitive nerve with Prince Harry, who has consistently made it clear that protecting Archie and Princess Lilibet of Sussex remains one of his highest priorities. Harry has repeatedly spoken about wanting to shield his children from the pressures he himself experienced while growing up inside the royal system, making any suggestion tied to their well-being feel especially personal. And perhaps what made the situation even more intense was the identity of the person behind the comments. This one man knew Meghan long before royal life, palace protocol, and global fame ever entered her world. To many people following this story online, this detail adds a new and deeper layer to the conversation. It suggests the focus is not only on what is being said now, but also on what may have been quietly observed many years ago. Long before fame, titles, and public pressure shaped her life, there may have already been signs that are only now being re-examined. This idea has fueled endless debate, with some people interpreting the comments as a simple reflection, while others believe they hint at deeper observations about personality, ambition, and the pressures of sudden global attention. The story continues to gain attention because it connects past relationships with present public narratives in a way that feels personal, emotional, and deeply human to those following the royal saga. Whether people see it as a coincidence or insight, it has once again placed Trevor Engelson in the center of a conversation he spent years staying away from. It also highlights how quickly private memories and old connections can resurface when public figures remain under constant global attention, turning even quiet past relationships into subjects of renewed debate and interpretation. In the end, what started as a private relationship between two people has slowly turned into a story the whole world keeps revisiting. Every old memory, past comment, and shared history is now re-examined through the lens of fame, royalty, and public curiosity. Even years later, the interest has not faded as people continue searching for meaning in every detail of their past. Weeks and conversations continue to shape perception in unexpected ways across audiences who remain fascinated by the evolving royal narrative and its many personal connections over time. Trevor believed that children can be exposed to pressure when personal ambition and public life become too visible. But is there anything in Meghan's public life that supports the concern reportedly raised by her ex-husband? What has Meghan done that could potentially expose her children to public scrutiny? Now, let's explore the tension between public image and parenting. The photo that sparked criticism. Just as discussions about privacy and children were already becoming louder online, another moment involving Meghan Markle reportedly added fresh controversy across social media. Meghan recently shared a mirror selfie that appeared to include her daughter Lilibet sitting on the floor with her back facing the camera. Around the same time, she also publicly spoke about the risks young people face online and criticized platforms she believes are designed to capture attention at any cost. However, critics quickly pointed out what they saw as a contradiction. Some argued that while Meghan promotes stronger protection for children in digital spaces, she still shares carefully selected family moments with the public. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams and journalist Tom Sykes reportedly both raised questions about whether there is a clear balance between advocating for privacy and still presenting controlled images of family life online. That criticism, while it may seem minor to some people, has now become part of a much larger conversation. It connects directly with earlier discussions sparked by Trevor Engelson's alleged comments, which have been widely debated online. For many observers, the issue is no longer only about royalty or past relationships. Instead, it has become about modern image building, personal branding, and how public figures manage the line between private family life and public storytelling. Some believe every shared image is innocent and personal, while others argue that even small posts can shape public narratives in powerful ways. In the middle of all this, the discussion continues to grow online, with supporters and critics interpreting the same moments in very different ways. What looks like a simple family post to one person can feel like a carefully managed message to another. And that difference in perception is what keeps the conversation alive and constantly evolving. Beyond the immediate online debate, analysts say the situation highlights how quickly private family moments become public talking points in the digital age. Every post, statement, or past relationship can be reinterpreted through new angles, especially when connected to well-known figures like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Supporters argue that public attention often exaggerates meaning where none was intended, while critics believe these patterns reveal a carefully managed image strategy that follows every appearance and message. As conversations grow, the overlap between personal memory, public storytelling, and media interpretation becomes harder to separate. This is why even old comments or past relationships continue to resurface, shaping new debates years later. And in this case, the link between Trevor Engelson's observations and current discussions about Meghan's public life keeps the story circulating across platforms, ensuring that interest remains strong and constantly renewed over time. Just as Trevor Engelson had warned, Meghan Markle's posts involving her children have sparked public scrutiny and raised questions about her approach to privacy. But is this just a coincidence, or has Trevor repeatedly appeared to predict her behavior before it happened? If so, what else has he allegedly said about Meghan that later seemed to come true? Let's find out. The 3 words Trevor said. The moment that brought Trevor Engelson's name roaring back into royal conversations reportedly began with a private text exchange that only seemed ordinary at first. Years later, that same message resurfaced and quickly spread across discussions, turning what once looked like a simple chat into one of the most talked about and debated moments among royal watchers online. In 2025, television personality Bethany Frankel revealed that shortly after Meghan Markle and Prince Harry made their relationship public in 2016, she reached out to Trevor with a simple but very direct question. Like many people watching the unexpected romance unfold, Bethany reportedly wanted to know whether Trevor believed the relationship would actually lead to marriage. Her message was short: "Do you think she'll marry him?" But according to Bethany, Trevor's answer came almost immediately, and it instantly caught attention years later because of how confident and matter-of-fact it sounded. "Oh, she'll close." Those 3 words quickly exploded across social media, podcasts, and royal discussion forums, because many people believed the response carried a meaning far deeper than a normal prediction about marriage. Trevor did not reportedly sound shocked, emotional, bitter, or even uncertain. Instead, he sounded completely convinced, as though he already understood how the story would end long before the rest of the world caught up. That calm certainty is exactly what made the comment so powerful. To many royal watchers, Trevor's response suggested he believed Meghan always had a very clear vision for her future and possessed the determination to achieve it, no matter how large the goal seemed. Some interpreted the words as admiration for her ambition. Others viewed them as something more complicated, hinting that Trevor may have recognized certain patterns in Meghan's personality years before she entered royal life. Suddenly, Trevor was no longer viewed as simply Meghan Markle's ex-husband from her pre-royal years. Instead, people began seeing him as someone who may have quietly understood Meghan in ways the public never fully considered. And for Prince Harry, that possibility alone may feel deeply uncomfortable. After years spent defending Meghan against criticism and insisting the world misunderstood her, Trevor's alleged remarks have now reopened conversations many believed had long disappeared. Online discussions exploded with people questioning whether Trevor had privately predicted parts of Meghan's royal journey before anyone else even imagined it. Whether people agree with those interpretations or not, one thing is undeniable. A single sentence from Trevor Engelson suddenly transformed him from a forgotten figure in Meghan's past into one of the most intriguing voices connected to the royal story today. Trevor has been described as consistent in predicting Meghan's moves in ways that later came true. But how could he know so much about her? Does this suggest Meghan has not changed much from the person he knew during their time together? And how long were they actually together? Now, let's uncover the Meghan Trevor once knew. Before the crown and the headlines. Long before royal weddings, global headlines, and palace controversies, Meghan Markle was simply a young actress trying to build a future in Hollywood. She was still chasing roles, attending auditions, and hoping for the kind of break that could change everything. That was the version of Meghan that Trevor Engelson first met in 2004, long before the world knew her name. Their relationship stretched over 7 years, a time filled with constant movement, uncertainty, and ambition. While Meghan worked hard to get acting opportunities, Trevor was already building his path as a successful film producer. Together, they moved through the demanding world of entertainment, where success is never guaranteed, and rejection is part of everyday life. People who knew them at the time often described them as a strong and supportive pair. Trevor was said to have stood by Meghan during the most challenging parts of her early career, offering encouragement when roles didn't come, and confidence was hard to hold on to. In many ways, they were growing side by side, trying to make it in an industry that rarely makes things easy. In 2011, their relationship reached a major milestone when they got married in a relaxed and private ceremony in Jamaica, surrounded by close friends and family. At that moment, everything looked steady and full of promise. Few could have predicted that the relationship would later end in such an unexpected and public way. But according to people close to the couple, things slowly began to change. Meghan's career started moving in a new direction, bringing bigger opportunities, more attention, and growing ambition. Those changes reportedly created pressure behind the scenes, tensions that were not always visible to the outside world, but were deeply felt within the relationship. Some sources suggest that Trevor witnessed this transformation closely, seeing shifts in priorities, lifestyle, and long-term goals. Whether those changes were natural or difficult depended on perspective, but to those who followed their story, it became clear that both were heading toward very different futures. Eventually, the marriage ended, and Meghan's life took a dramatic turn as she stepped into global fame and later into the royal family. Looking back, some observers believe this shared history may help explain why Trevor's later public comments, though limited and often brief, have been interpreted as unusually calm and confident. Instead of sounding emotional or bitter, he has often been described as measured, almost as if he understood the trajectory long before the world began paying attention. And that perception continues to fuel curiosity, as people revisit the past in search of clues that might explain how two lives once so closely connected eventually moved in completely different directions. Trevor and Meghan spent many years together, which made it easier for him to understand her personality and ambitions. But what could cause a separation between two people who knew each other so well? Was the end of their relationship mutual? Or did one partner walk away in a way that left the other deeply hurt? Now, let's explore the sudden separation. The marriage that ended in silence. By 2013, the marriage between Meghan Markle and Trevor Engelson had come to an end. On paper, the reasons appeared simple: distance, demanding careers, and the growing pressure of two lives moving in different directions. Meghan was filming Suits in Toronto, while Trevor remained based in Los Angeles, working in film production. What once felt manageable slowly became a daily separation that strained their connection. But what truly shocked many people came after the separation. According to several royal biographies and accounts from former friends, Meghan allegedly ended the marriage in a way that was described as unexpected and distant. It was claimed that she sent Trevor her wedding and engagement rings by mail rather than meeting him in person to formally close that chapter. This detail, whether fully accurate or not, quickly spread online and became one of the most discussed parts of her early life story. For many observers, this moment changed how the entire story was viewed. Friends of Trevor later suggested he felt deeply hurt and caught off guard by how suddenly everything ended. What had once looked like a strong partnership now appeared, in hindsight, as something that broke apart faster than most people realized. For critics and commentators, this became more than just a personal breakup story. It turned into a reference point in larger debates about ambition, timing, and relationships under pressure. Some argue it suggests Meghan was always focused on moving forward, even when it meant leaving difficult emotions behind. Others say the story is exaggerated and shaped by outside speculation, rather than confirmed facts. And yet, the discussion continues to resurface whenever Meghan Markle and Prince Harry face public scrutiny. Some people believe these past stories are now being reinterpreted through the lens of her royal life, with new meaning added in hindsight. Whether seen as fact, rumor, or something in between, the narrative continues to follow her, showing how past relationships can remain part of present conversations in unexpected ways. This is why the story continues to attract attention online, even years after the marriage ended. Every new interview, rumor, or old memory tends to reopen conversations about what really happened and how it unfolded behind closed doors. For some, it is simply a private story that became public. For others, it represents a larger lesson about love, timing, and ambition in a world where personal lives often become public discussion. And as long as Meghan Markle and Prince Harry remain in the public eye, interest in these earlier chapters is unlikely to fade anytime soon. Each detail continues to shape how people interpret the story today across media and public conversations, globally, online debates. Meghan was accused by some reports of ending her marriage to her ex-husband in a sudden and unexpected way. But did her ex-husband ever respond to the separation in a way that suggested revenge or resentment? And what eventually became of both of them after the divorce? Let's uncover the interesting details. The man who chose silence. What makes Trevor Engelson's story so interesting is that he has never publicly tried to damage Meghan Markle's reputation. Instead of turning his past into a public battle or chasing attention through interviews, he chose a very different path. After his marriage to Meghan ended, he slowly stepped away from the spotlight and focused on rebuilding his own life in private. Over time, he created distance from the noise that often follows people connected to famous public figures. While Meghan and Prince Harry continued to face intense media attention around their royal life, their decision to leave the royal family, their interviews, business projects, and ongoing family discussions, Trevor stayed largely outside of all that public debate. In 2019, he remarried Tracy Kurland, and later they welcomed 3 children together. Reports and public appearances suggest that he built a quiet, stable family life that is very different from the world he once shared with Meghan during their early years in Hollywood. His focus appears to have shifted toward privacy, family, and a more grounded routine away from constant media attention. Meanwhile, Meghan and Harry's journey continued to unfold on a global stage. Every major decision they made seemed to attract public reactions, strong opinions, and ongoing discussion. From royal duties to interviews and business deals, their lives have remained under constant observation, with supporters and critics closely following every development. This contrast between their two paths has become something many people online notice. Trevor, once seen mainly as Meghan's former husband from before fame and royalty, is now often described as someone who chose a quieter and more private direction. At the same time, the Sussex story remains active in public conversations, often surrounded by debates and differing opinions. Because of this, some observers find Trevor's silence even more powerful than words. He has not written books, given tell-all interviews, or engaged in public arguments about the past. Instead, he has allowed time and distance to speak for him, which has led many people to interpret his quiet life as a statement in itself. In a world where so many personal stories become public content, Trevor Engelson stands out as someone who simply stepped away, choosing peace over attention and privacy over constant discussion. What makes his story even more talked about is not drama or conflict, but the way silence can slowly shape public opinion over time. Many people now see him as a reminder that stepping away from attention can sometimes create more curiosity than speaking out loudly. In the end, his quiet life continues to raise questions about love, timing, ambition, and how past choices can still echo in the present-day discussions. Beyond Trevor and Meghan both remarrying and Meghan continuing to face media scrutiny, why didn't Trevor try to convince Meghan to be more patient or reconsider their separation? Does this suggest he may have understood a deeper side of Meghan long before Prince Harry entered the picture? Let's uncover the fascinating details. The question that won't go away. At the heart of this entire discussion lies a question that many people find both uncomfortable and hard to ignore. What if Trevor Engelson truly understood Meghan Markle in a way that no one else did, long before Prince Harry ever had the chance to see that side of her? This idea is what continues to fuel public interest around Trevor's recent resurfacing in online conversations. It is not because he is a royal insider, a media expert, or someone involved in palace affairs. He is none of those things. Trevor is simply the man who once shared a long relationship with Meghan during a very different chapter of her life, before global fame, before royal titles, and before the carefully shaped public image that the world later came to know. That background is exactly why people keep returning to his name. In the eyes of many observers, he represents a rare perspective, someone who knew Meghan in a quieter, less polished time, when life was still focused on auditions, career building, and uncertain futures in Hollywood. Of course, it is important to remember that relationships are complex. Ambition and love often exist at the same time, and one does not automatically cancel out the other. People grow, change, and move in different directions for many reasons. Still, the way Trevor's reported comments have been interpreted online has opened the door to a wider and more complicated conversation about Meghan's journey, her relationships, and how public life can reshape private choices. Some of the attention comes from the idea that early experiences sometimes leave impressions that only become clearer with time. Supporters of Meghan argue that much of the discussion is based on speculation, old stories, and opinions that are being reinterpreted through the lens of her current fame. Others believe that people who knew her earlier may notice patterns or personality traits that the public only sees much later. This tension between perception and reality is part of what keeps the conversation alive. Trevor, intentionally or not, has become part of that debate simply because of who he was in her life history. Now, across social media and commentary platforms, people are asking one direct and growing question. Did Trevor Engelson reveal something about Meghan Markle that Prince Harry was never prepared to hear? Many believe his words may have opened a deeper conversation that goes far beyond simple curiosity. A simple comment, a memory, or a second-hand account can quickly grow into something much larger when it involves well-known figures. Trevor's past connection to Meghan gives his name a certain weight in public imagination, even when his actual public presence is minimal. And that is why this conversation continues to grow. It sits at the intersection of memory, perception, and curiosity, where people try to connect past relationships with present lives, and where unanswered questions often become louder than confirmed answers. What do you think about Trevor's revelation? Was it influenced by his breakup with Meghan, or based on genuine observation? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.